Hey, what's going on, crew? Welcome to another episode of the Feed Me, Feel Me podcast. Durs and Jeff coming to you from Scottsdale, Arizona. And today we've got the pleasure of Just Touched Down, founder of IN3 Nutrition, Jason Phillips.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back, homie.
Thank you, my man.
Yeah,
it feels good to be home. Like, Arizona feels like home. I only lived here 4 years the first time, but it's always felt like home since I left.
Well, it's cool to always catch up with another East Coast guy.
Yeah, man.
You know
no doubt. Yeah, I mean, DC metro area.
Yeah,
that's home.
Yeah,
so.
Man. The last time I connected with you, you were working with OPEX.
Yep.
And then, so that was about 4 years ago.
Yeah, man.
And just watching you on social, you've catapulted your business in the last 4 years. And I want to dive into the evolution of the creation of a nutrition certification, the explosion of IN3, and all the things that you're up to. Because, I mean, just 5 years ago, you were
I was broke.
In the red in your bank account, man.
Like legit 5 years ago. Yeah. Actually, 5 years ago this past Thanksgiving.
Dang, okay. And in your words, you decided to get your head out of your ass.
I did. I pulled my head out of my ass.
You went from, 12 years ago, taking $100 a pop on Body Space, bodybuilding.com, to, just giving away advice. And now you have your own certification system.
Yeah.
So tell us about it, man.
So I told you guys I'd share the story on the podcast. 5 years ago, Thanksgiving, I woke up and the girl I had moved to Arizona with, we were on a ski trip. And, when you take your girlfriend on a trip, you want to at least impress her a little bit, right?
You're not checking the account.
Like you don't want to run out of money. How about that?
Yeah. Throw it in the bag status.
Yeah, right. So we wake up. Are you familiar with my Starbucks addiction?
No.
Okay, so I have a streak of 5 years plus that I've been to Starbucks every single day.
Oh, man.
And gotten the
That's
same
like me
drink.
and Dutch Brothers right now.
Yeah, man. So Howard Schultz, if you're listening, hook me up.
Sponsorship status, right?
So we got up and it was snowing. Like, we went into town because the Starbucks was in the Safeway, and it's Thanksgiving Day, so we're gonna get food for Thanksgiving dinner, and we're gonna get my coffee.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I happened to look at my bank account. Like, I knew it was tight, but I didn't think it was that tight.
Sure.
And like, dude, I'm overdrawn, like $27 overdrawn, and I'm like, fuck. Like, so here I am. Like, paint the picture. I'm with this girl that I'm trying to impress. I can't get the coffee that I've had every day at this point for like a year plus.
Yeah.
And I definitely can't afford Thanksgiving dinner.
Sure.
What the fuck am I gonna do? And so like, we're walking up and down the aisles, and like, it's a holiday. Nobody can bail you out. You can't like call a relative and be like, hey, put some cash in my account so it clears now.
Yeah.
Like, nothing, dude. And so like, we keep walking up and down aisles, and I don't know if I like wanted to wallow in my own misery or what.
Are you just loading the cart to
like
fucking
what she
stall?
is. I'm trying to do nothing. Like, I'm like, no, do we really need that? No, we're good. And so
that's a mess.
And then I'm like hiding my wallet. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll say I forgot my wallet. Like thinking about what I could do. And so for some reason, I open up my phone again. I look at the account. Dude, a $500 check cleared.
Whoa.
And I don't know why. Like, because it's a holiday. It's not supposed to happen.
Right.
I, to this day, cannot tell you why it happened.
Universe, man.
Like, dude, God was looking out.
Yeah.
And so I, look, first things first, I got my coffee. Right? Like, that was important.
Get it while you got it.
So, and then I, took care of Thanksgiving dinner, took care of the vacation.
Yeah.
And, man, like, went home and I was like, everything I've tried hasn't worked, like from a business standpoint.
Sure.
And the one thing I realized was I had just been listening to other people. I had been listening to other people tell me how to do it. Nothing ever felt right. Nothing resonated with me. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I got to go all in on me.
Yeah.
And
which is odd to hear you say that. Sorry to cut you off, because, I mean, I've known you in the space for quite a while.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's not like you don't have credibility and a solid reputation.
It was never the credibility or the reputation. It was like, when you get at like higher levels of business, there's the gurus, right? And they all have their way of doing things. And anytime I would make any appreciable amount of money, right? Like, if I had scaled to $100,000, I would listen to somebody. And I would listen, and it just didn't resonate, and I would end up tanking like what I was doing and getting burned out and just not enjoying it.
Right.
And if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to be super successful.
Right.
Sure.
And so I basically had nothing, and I'm like, you know what? This is what I want to do. And, you know, just 3 months before is when I had left OPEX.
Yep.
And, you know, I had success there. Like I definitely, I took them, I think I grew them like 100% in a quarter. And it was a big deal, right? And
just on the nutrition end?
no, like as a company, like I was GM over there.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And, so I mean, like I don't know if you guys like the, was it the open prep guide?
Yeah.
Like that was all mine. Like I built that in year one.
Okay.
All their digital stuff. Like that was all like my vision. Cause I'm like, you guys are leaving millions of dollars on the table on the digital side.
Okay.
And, so like we built that out, and like I have tremendous amount of respect for James. We just didn't see eye to eye, and I wasn't fulfilled there. And, you know, I was in August, I was on a plane, and this overweight guy literally, like, he's 2 rows behind me across the aisle, and he kept fucking like looking at me, and finally caught my eye, and he started asking me questions. And dude, we talked for like 2.5 hours on the flight. Landed, and I was like, man, like this dude fucking lit me up. Like I'm so happy right now just helping people.
Yeah.
That I opened up my phone, I sent in my 2 weeks. Like right then and there. Had no fucking reason other than I want to be happy doing what I'm doing.
Okay.
And that's ultimately why I was broke, because I had no savings and like nothing else, right? But I was doing what the fuck I wanted to do. And I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah.
And so I just did it my way, man. And I realized that the biggest missing link in the space was there was no connection, right? We're playing this game of nutrition, which is a very scary thing for people when they hire a nutrition coach, and it's a very emotional thing, and it should be a very connection-driven process.
Yeah.
And there was no connection. And so I said, all right, well, I'm going to go all in on connecting with people. And I was doing Skype calls, and I was doing phone calls, and I was texting with people, and literally giving people 24/7 access to me. And that was the game changer. Is people were like, he genuinely gives a fuck.
Yeah.
And, man, like that jumped off. And before I knew it, you know, less than a year later, I had 167 clients.
Okay.
And dude, working 20 hours a day is not fun.
Right.
Like literally, I mean, 167 clients, and you got to talk to all of them.
Right.
As much as you love your job, there's a point where you will hit burnout.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And so I had to scale.
Yeah.
And I hired my first coach, and kind of realized, oh my God, dude, like
please be 80% as good as me.
if she's listening to this, her name is Brandy Wan. She deserves all the credit, seriously, for like where IN3 is today, because
that's awesome.
If she wasn't such a good coach, and she wasn't such a good employee, I would have never had the trust to hire another coach, right? Because I mean, you know how it is. You hire your first employee, and you're scared shitless. You're like, yeah, you said it, 80% of me. That's all I was hoping for. And dude, she exceeded every expectation I had.
Awesome.
She took stuff, she ran with it. She's an amazing resource today. Like, she's written books for our company, like just a good person. And so, you know, today we got 15 coaches, and inside of training those coaches, I've also realized that, holy shit, I can teach people to do this. Right. And so we built out our mentorship platform, and, you know, we've had success in business. So we have a business coaching platform. And, you know, it was 2 years into it. I was are you familiar with John Romanello?
Yeah.
You know John Romanello, right? He used to write for like all the big publications, big time internet marketer. So I was at one of Roman's events in LA, and Craig Ballantyne was speaking. Okay. And Craig said something about my business, and I said, you know, I'm right around $1 million right now. And I said, I just don't know what the next step is. And he said, dude, you got to write a certification. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to write? Like, precision nutrition is everything. Right. And he's like, dude, you got to figure it out. And so I drove. And at the time, well, I still have it, but at the time I was driving my I-8 everywhere. So any excuse I had to drive the I-8, I would drive it. Okay. And I'm driving like 5 hours home, and I'm like, what the fuck could I do? What the fuck can I do? And I'm like, I got it. Like, the one thing I do better than every single person in the space is I create application. Okay. There's so much knowledge, and there's so much confusion in the space that nobody is teaching you how to take that knowledge and actually create success with your clients. Right. And so, like, if you go survey 2,000 nutrition coaches, and you're like, what's your biggest fear? Their biggest fear is not creating results. They're so afraid that, like, the testimonials they're promising, they're not going to deliver on. Sure. Right? And that's a fucked up thing to say, but it's the truth. Right. And so we built a program where, yeah, you come in, I'll teach you all the science and all the biology and all the physiology, but it's the same as every other cert. I'm open to admitting that. Sure. But then on day 2, I changed the game. And if you come to a Sunday at my certification, I will blow your mind. Period. The end.
Okay.
Like, I will flip your fucking world upside down and make you look at things completely differently. And I've had registered dietitians that spent, their $70,000 in debt. They came in and they're like, I learned more in 48 hours from you than I've learned my whole nutrition career. And that's the game to me, is it's like, how can I take Mrs. Jones that's coming in she's fucked up from all the shit she's tried, or she's not, and how can I build something for her that not only is nutritionally correct, but she's going to adhere to, she's going to enjoy, and that 30 years behind or beyond her work with me, that she's going to still use.
Right.
And if I do that, I win. And that was literally the crux of it.
Okay.
So
where'd you learn how to deliver that information? Because teaching is a skill in itself, where you may have the knowledge and people have the knowledge, but getting it across to them and having them like latch onto that idea and following through. Where'd you get that skill set from? Because that's a tough thing to develop.
honestly think it's because I'm really stupid.
Really?
So, like, I think that I'm so, and I say that somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but, like, I always say, like, I am where I am not because of how smart I am, sometimes because of how dumb I am. Like, I'm really myopic around how I need to do things.
Yeah.
And I also like things to be dumbed down. I don't want to talk in, like, fancy words and intricacies and things like that. I can speak on physiological levels with you, and, like, we can nerd it out if you really want to.
Yeah.
But I recognize the average person, they don't care about that.
Right.
Sure.
And so I've always just had this knack for making things really simple. And, ironically, it's really funny. Now I'm learning marketing, and, like, inside of marketing, like Russell Brunson teaches you that, like, you should make things really, really simple and correlate things to other things that people know. And I'm like, man, I've kind of always done that. But yeah, like I was never a great public speaker. At least I didn't like public speaking, but now it's the one thing I really want to do. Like, by 2020, I've said I want to speak on Cole Hatter stage, and by 2021, I want to speak on Grant Cardone stage.
Nice.
So, like, those goals are out there, and I'm already, like, I'm talking to Paul Getter about getting to Grant, and I've got a connection to Cole for next year. So,
cool.
I spoke at FBS last year and just, like, lit up the stage, and that was so that's a big thing. But there was no formal training, man. I think it was really listening to people and understanding what they truly wanted. And I think that if people are listening to this from a marketing perspective or a sales perspective, your clients never want your knowledge. Like, that's what you have to understand. People do not want more knowledge. People want results. Right? And people make decisions based on three things: health, wealth, and relationships. So if you're talking in nerd speak in your industry, they don't give a fuck, right? Like that's cool, and that might impress your colleagues,
Right.
But, like, the average person doesn't give a fuck about they don't care about proteins, carbs, and fats. They want to start having sex with the lights on.
Right.
I love that. Yeah, that's the damn truth.
Right? Like, that's the truth.
That's the honest truth. Yeah.
They don't want to have to, like, not look in the mirror when they walk by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, we all laugh about it, and I promise you, there's somebody that's going to hear this podcast and be like, "Fuck, he's right."
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like you start understanding what people truly want, and it's so much deeper than this facade of nutritional knowledge, or this facade of these insecurities that we perpetuate.
Yeah.
And we're the ones that are fucking insecure.
Sure.
And that's why we talk in nerd speak.
Sure.
Right? Because we're so insecure that people are going to figure out we don't really know what the fuck we're talking about.
Right.
And so it's, you kind of step into this role where you're like, wait, I know what I'm talking about, and I know I have a solution. Just the problem was never inside of food. The problem was with you. Like, I tell people all the time, you don't have a diet problem, you have a you problem.
Sure.
And if I can fix you, I can fix your diet.
Right.
That's it.
How many, I call it 7 whys deep, when I'm working with somebody, specifically in the one-on-one space, it takes me 7 whys, I got to peel back 7 layers to really figure out why the fuck we're standing here.
Yep.
And then shit takes off.
Yep.
Now, to get to that 7th why, like the honest one, that might take,
Could you imagine if anybody actually told the truth? Like, seriously, could you imagine if everybody in society told the fucking truth?
There'd be a lot of offended people. I know that.
No, like, nobody in a room would have power, though.
Sure.
Like, the most powerful person in the room is the person that can tell the truth. Right? Because you step in a room and instantly everyone, like, they put their guards up to guard the shit like they're skeletons.
Sure.
Are you familiar with Garrett White?
No.
So it's a concept I learned from him.
Okay.
And, like, the most powerful person in the room is the person with nothing to hide. Right? And so Garrett is, he owns Warrior Way, like the Warrior's Way, Wake Up Warrior movement.
Wake Up Warrior. Yeah. Okay.
He owns that, right? And, he says, like, he wrote this book, Warrior Book, and it's the manifesto for men, like, forever. Like, this is the book every man should read to be, like, a man.
Is this the antithesis of toxic masculinity?
It's not that. Like, I don't think he went that deep. Like, I think there's, like guys like Ryan Mickler and some guys that have gone down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, sure.
And I have a ton of respect for them, but I think some of them have gone too far.
Okay.
I think that, you know, he talks about, hey, like, I'm gonna teach you to basically tell the truth. Like, rule number one, and the only rule is tell the fucking truth.
Right.
So, like, the opening line in his book is, I cheated on my wife. And so here's this guy saying, I'm going to teach you to be the best man in the world. And he opens with, I cheated on my wife. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, you're telling people to cheat, and it's like, no, I'm telling the truth.
Right. Sure.
It's like, I'm telling you, I have nothing to hide. I was a douchebag. I was a prick. I cheated. And it's like, man, instantly you have respect, because it's like, hey, saying that publicly is hard.
Right.
And, you know, that's why the world loves a good comeback story. And, you know, Tiger Woods, everybody loves him again. Right?
Sure.
Everybody wants to see him do well. His struggles, everybody, like, you know, they talk shit about it. Now everybody wants to see him do well. And so, you know, it's this thing, man. Everybody has something they're covering up. And I love the notion of 7 whys. I've always said it's the why behind the why. But it's the why behind the why behind the why, like fucking 7 deep. I've always said that, because the why that people identify with is rarely the one that they're going to create success with.
Sure.
You know, in full transparency, man, like, my 30 plus years of lack of success came because I just pandered to other people.
Sure.
I cared so much about what other people thought of me. You know, I was do you know I was anorexic?
No.
So yeah, I was anorexic at 18. And the reason I was anorexic is because I wanted abs so bad. And I thought girls would like me if I had abs.
Sure.
I thought dudes would respect me if I had abs. You know, and it came at a negative time in my life where I was a golfer. You know, I was a really fucking good golfer.
Yeah.
And I got injured. And so before I could even play my freshman year of college, you know, I was in this, like, rehab setting. And dude, it just was like, it became the bane of who I was. Like, it was my identity. I'm like, I gotta have abs. I gotta have abs. And they were never good enough. And ended up putting myself into very severe anorexia and really just like a downward spiral in my life, man. Like, I just recently came forward with the fact that I was actually suicidal at the time too. And, you know, so it was a rough point. And, you know, had I just told the truth back then, like, I wanted attention from females and I wanted to be more of an alpha, like, I may not have gone there, because people would have been like, well, you don't get it with just abs.
Right.
And so now you know, not saying I've perfected it, because, like, we all tell ourselves bullshit, but I tend to think that a lot of the reason I'm becoming more successful is because I work. Right? Like IN3 works and NCI works because Jason works.
Sure.
And Jason can teach all the people inside of his business to work. And so I invest in a lot of trainings, like self-development stuff for my staff, because I think as they work, our company works. And it's really become a big thing in my life these last 2 years, man.
Yeah.
Like, and I really think it's a big reason for success.
Dude, that really resonates, because have you read the book The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson?
Not. So full transparency, man, I don't read.
Okay.
Ever.
Do you do Audible?
I do sometimes. So I'm a big podcast guy, obviously, here doing this, but man, like, everyone's like, well, surely you have time in the car. And I'm like, dude, if you understood, when I'm in the car, I'm on the phone. Not texting, because nobody should text and drive. But I'm on the phone, man. Like, that's the time where I'm just like, I got to maximize every minute of my day. And I'm an efficiency whore. So, like, I'm big on that. So I don't get I wish I got more. Full transparency, but it is what it is.
Dude, either way, you hit every sort of just nail on the head, even if you haven't read the book, because he's talking about, you know, the struggle and this identity that we have as human beings, where he's like, we have an idea. And he's like, you have to admit that we're always wrong. He's like, you're just a little less wrong than you were the last time. He's like, as a part of seeking that truth. But the identity shield that we put up is like, oh, I have to put all these layers on me to say, like, I'm the perfect person in the world. Let's get the abs. Let's get this and this. And by the time we have a facade put up and so far in front of us that to reveal our true selves, we're so lost and we don't even understand who we are as that person. So
100%.
Because we're trying to impress everybody else, like follow everybody else's message.
Dude, we do everything for everybody else.
It's crazy.
Dude, consider this though, inside of success. So many people think they need to chase success, and they create these vision boards and they set these fucking grand outcomes. The human brain is not wired to chase success. The human brain is designed to avoid failure. And so what people really need to do in their life is set higher standards for what failure is. People accept bullshit in their lives. And the reason you continue to find bullshit is because you accept it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you can want millions and billions of dollars. Your brain's not going to chase that shit.
Right.
Your brain is going to spend time avoiding bullshit. So what if you said $1 million is bullshit?
Sure.
And 2 million is what you're chasing? Okay, cool. Well, your pitfall will leave you right above $1 million.
Right.
Right.
Everyone has to raise their standards a little bit, man. Like, I learned that from Sam Ovens, and that's been like massive.
That's our slogan at PHX.
Yeah.
Raise your standards.
Yeah, right. But now, like, think about it in that application.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's nuts.
I love that. I love that.
And it's like sort of the bedrock of what Tony Robbins speaks about. The two feelings that we try to chase in life, pain and pleasure. You'll do more to avoid pain than to seek pleasure.
100%, dude.
So you have to make your neuroassociative associations attach some type of pain to it, like you said.
That's it. That's it.
And then you'll achieve that.
I was just in a seminar, The Millionaire Mindset.
Yep.
It's one of Tony Robbins' companies. And the exercise they do, they give you these black rubber band, and every time you have a negative thought, right, it's to reprogram, right?
Yeah.
So every time you catch yourself thinking negatively, you snap the rubber band, and it brings you back to
you break your pattern.
Right, exactly. It's a pattern breaker.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what you're talking about.
That's interesting.
You know,
That's interesting.
I'm
really interested.
I'm doing this shit all fucking day.
Right.
I'm really interested to know, though, because I think it also takes willpower to pull the rubber band.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So you're assuming that somebody is going to continue to make the right decisions. So does like exercise fatigue, or like does fatigue of being wrong ever play a part in that retraining yourself? Right. Because that's immediately where my mind went. I'm like, I'm not sure that like I think you're just reinforcing negative behavior. Like, I would tell them, like, I'm not sure that's the best way.
Sure.
I think it's like maybe there's something completely different. And I think that you're really just continuing to identify all the negative shit. Like, listen, we all know there's negative shit.
Exactly. And I think that's more the point, is creating the awareness that
there's negativity in your life.
There is negativity
That's
in
fair.
your life.
That's
You
fair.
know what
I could agree with that.
And then it's a physical, it's a tactile cue to break that thought pattern.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
Move on to something productive.
Makes sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and like for me, I'm not an efficiency whore.
Yep.
You know, like I outsource a lot of things to make to make my life efficient. You know what I'm saying? But when I catch myself fucking around on social media or something like that, it's like, get back to work.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Stuff like that.
That I like.
You know what I mean? But I think that it's incredible that you took that nugget, you went out and you built the certification process. You know, was it, as most of us entrepreneurs find, it's like, oh, that's a great fucking idea.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to eat the whole elephant.
So I'll be super honest with how it went, right? Like, I don't think I've ever told this story.
We're all about first.
Dude, I'm like I said, nothing's off limits.
Sure, man.
So I left there and I got home and like I didn't even unpack my car because I'm like, I got it in my head.
Okay.
And I walked right to my computer and I wrote like the outline of the cert. Never changed it because it was so vivid in my mind what needed to be created. That, like, I don't know about you, but like the most of my creativity comes in the shower and when I'm driving.
Okay.
And there's actually reasons I've researched for that. Like, subconscious brain is very active, but so I mean, I knew it, right? I'm like, gotta walk in, gotta take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And it never deviated from that. But I sat on it and I didn't announce. God, what was this? So that was December when it happened.
Okay.
I don't think I announced until March that March or April. That I was even gonna actually do this.
Okay.
So I sat on it, like, thinking I'll write it. I didn't do shit.
Right.
Like most entrepreneurs. And finally I was like, man, like, I think I was sick one day.
Okay.
And I wrote a Facebook post because I'm like, I need to post something. And it was like, yeah, like, I discovered like a better way to do things. And by the way, I'm gonna do my certification at the end of the summer. And I'm like, great, like July, August, how the fuck can I write this by then? But whatever, I'll figure it out. Like, comment below if you want in.
Yeah.
And dude, 180 comments.
That's crazy.
Like, fast.
That's crazy.
And like, I think I put like, tag my assistant. And I put her name.
Okay.
And my assistant texts me. She's like, what the fuck is happening? She's like, why did I just get 180 tags? And I'm like, we need a payment link for this product.
Yeah.
It's $1,000. And because we started at 1,000.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. And I'm like, just send it on PayPal. And so she made a PayPal link with our account and we capped it at 40. Dude, we sold out in less than 48 hours.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, hold on. Like, congrats. Yeah, like I got 40K sitting in my bank. That's dope. But I'm like, motherfucker, I don't have a certification. I'm like, I got an outline.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck. Like,
Now
so now I gotta do it, right? Because I took $40,000 on people's money.
Now you have to deliver.
Yeah.
So I had a location, I had a dope outline, and I had people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now we got to do it. But I learned a lot. I learned some really good habits in that process because I'm as ADD as they come. So sitting down to write like a 200-page book, and to put this together, like that's hard for me. Like it goes against who I am. I'm very like, I want to get in front of people. I don't want to rehearse shit. I don't want to do slides. I just want to talk.
Right.
And so basically, like what I did, man, is I blocked out from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. every morning, and I'm like, I'm gonna write, and I found some days were really good. I get 30 pages done, and some days I watch YouTube for 5 hours.
Right.
But I stopped judging myself in that time. I'm like, I got time devoted to it, and if I don't do it, it's okay because there's tomorrow at that time, and I did it every day.
Dude, I feel you so much. My book is in editing right now. It comes out in March.
Hell yeah, good for you.
And putting that motherfucker together.
It's so hard,
dude. I swear to God, man. I would sit there and catch myself like I had the laptop open, Word, boom, boom, boom.
Check a tab.
Yeah. Right.
Facebook.
What's going on?
Did I get a new email?
Let me check these emails that I'm not even supposed to be checking. I got people doing that now. You know what I mean? And no, so just the allocation of time to give yourself the freedom to accomplish the task is probably the bigger win 100%. Than actually spending all 5 hours doing the
I
deal.
learned that you have to devote very specific times to everything. Like it really became a facet of how I approach everything. And the fact that because if I didn't get anything accomplished that day, I didn't stress. I didn't get to 8 p.m. and be like, well, shit, I got 0 pages this morning, so let me try and crank a page.
Right.
Like, I didn't do that. And I think that's what most people do.
Sure.
Is they're like, I didn't do XYZ this morning, so let me try to move to the afternoon what I should have done this morning.
No way.
And it just causes more stress. And then you don't sleep, you don't recover, and it ends up just being this nasty cycle of never getting shit done, where it's like, hey, nothing happened this morning. Like, the world didn't end. Like, the presentation's not due. It's all good. And so, I had 4 months to write it. I took my family on vacation twice. I was up way before them, sitting on the balcony of my hotel. I mean, let's be honest, though. Sitting on the balcony of the Montage, overlooking Laguna Beach, not a bad place to write.
Right.
Like, pretty sure I got more done in that week than any other week. And now I'm like, I tell my wife, I'm like, hey, listen, like when I got deadlines, I'm going to go book myself a room and I'm going to sit on that balcony because cognitively I associate that with such positive things that I'm like, I know I can go back there and just crush. So she's all about it too. She's like, go do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So that's, that was dope, man. And then where we've come since then, like the very first presentation, it was okay. It was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't what it is today. Today, and dude, we have one here end of March in Scottsdale. You're both welcome. Come out. It's on me.
I appreciate you, brother.
Like, comp it out for you guys just so you can come check it out.
Love you, man. Thank you.
And you'll see the power is really in the delivery. Now it's a gift and a curse.
Oh yeah, sure.
Right. So I can bring fire on the mic. Yeah. And I don't think there's anybody else on my staff that can. Full transparency.
Sure,
right. And so coming into 2019, one of my biggest problems is I travel too much. And, I knew that moving to Scottsdale, I could bring more things to me. And so we were supposed to have our last traveling year of level ones. And so this weekend I'm in Fort Lauderdale. After this weekend, I'm done. So we pulled everything to Scottsdale starting in March.
Awesome.
We will not travel again. So every event you come to for IN3 or NCI, unless it's international, right? Sure. England or Dubai or whatever, you're coming to Scottsdale, man. Like it's our home. Yeah. And so it's great because I get to, kiss my daughter good bed or good night. I get to wake up with her, and I can show up fresh and deliver. Yeah. And so that's cool, and that solved a big problem because now I don't have to outsource it. At some point I'll have to, but right now that's that, man. And then inside of the first one we saw there was 2 things that people really wanted to know was a lot about hormones, and so walking away from the first one, we built a hormone course. We have a hormone specialty course now. And then I recognize people don't understand psychology. And I think psychology is big in this game.
Probably the biggest part.
Right.
Yeah.
So we built a mindset specialty course. So one of my coaches is actually a former clinical psychologist.
Okay.
And so she built that course.
Nice.
And then obviously no one in the fitness space understands business. So we built out the business systems course. And actually this coming June, we're launching level 2.
Okay.
So there was so much I felt like we left out of like the level 1. I needed something deeper.
Yeah.
And so level 2. And
is all of this housed inside of the
Nutritional Coaching Institute?
Okay.
Yeah. It's all part of the institute. So
got it. So you've got IN3.
Yep.
And then is the Nutrition Coaching Institute. This is
its own entity.
Okay.
Yep.
Which houses all of the education.
All of the education.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep. And so obviously people that come to NCI end up feeding into some IN3 type things.
Yeah, sure.
And vice versa. A lot of our IN3 clients realize, hey, I had such a profound experience that I want to now go create that, and they end up in NCI.
Okay.
But I mean, from an accounting perspective, of course, like it's way better to have NCI and IN3 be different businesses.
Sure.
But dude, I'll tell you, like one of the biggest differentiators too is, I don't know what the other certifications have because I haven't gone through them, but as like a test component, you get done and you take your multiple choice test.
Yep.
Like great. Like that's just a dick measuring contest.
Sure.
Like great, you got 100 on your multiple choice test. That doesn't tell me you can help anybody.
Right.
It tells me how smart you are.
Right.
It's kind of like school, right? Like when I was in school, I always said tests were how smart you were, homework was how hard you worked. Like I had hundreds on tests all the time.
Yeah.
I had zeros on homework because I gave 0 fucks. Like I just did not give a fuck about school, right?
Sure.
But I always passed my tests. I had 1400 SAT. Like I was intelligent.
Yeah.
And so I inside of this, our test is case studies.
Okay.
So I don't do multiple choice.
You got to know.
You have to go and do 2 90-day case studies.
Okay.
Where you can get the clients. We help you find the clients. You have to set them up on an intake. You have to tell us what you got from that intake.
Yep.
You have to tell us about your interactions with them. How frequently did you interact? What did you learn from those interactions?
Yeah.
And the truth is, you're probably going to get some clients that are not compliant.
Yeah.
Great. That's part of being a coach.
Sure.
Let's figure that shit out.
Right.
How did you handle that? Right. And so we end up teaching people the process and the art of being a coach.
Love
is
it.
so valuable, man.
Sure.
90 days later, I am so confident putting my letters behind your name. If you do what we tell you to, you're going to go create impact. And really, that's the goal.
Cool.
So I got this 1 billion person mission, man.
Yeah.
I want to certify 1 million people that each help 1,000 people.
That's what's up.
And if we do that, we hit 1 billion people helped from our education system.
Yeah. Oh, that's huge.
That's huge, man.
It's so massive. Talking about raising your standard.
That's it, right?
Yep. Yeah. No, that's great. So going back, because I looked at on the IN3 website.
Yeah, man.
And it said, you have that meet the coaches page.
We got 15 of them.
Yeah, your list is short.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like what? Because you and I were talking when you got here about the apprenticeship process that we have at PHX.
Yep.
6 to 9 months. It's non-negotiable. I don't give a shit if you just won the CrossFit Games or you're a level 4 coach, whatever, because what doesn't matter to me. You have to pass the people test.
Yep.
So what is your criteria for being an IN3 coach?
So ironically, I don't, and I think this goes in line with everything that I believe. I don't hire on skill set.
Yeah.
Like I can teach anybody to be intelligent.
Okay.
And I think you're probably the same, right? And I believe we could teach skill sets all day long.
Yeah.
The one skill set you can't teach is how to not be a douchebag. Right? And if you go back to like what I said earlier, we're in a connection-based industry.
Sure.
Like people are trusting you with probably their biggest insecurity.
100%.
And so here we are helping people with these insecurities.
Yep.
And you're gonna bring a douchebag into your business. Like it doesn't work.
Right.
So first things first, like we got a vibe, right? And if I think you're a good person, then we'll move you on to the next piece.
Yeah.
And then it's okay, where do you ultimately want to be? Longevity, et cetera, right? And then you come in and we have a pretty extensive training process, man.
Okay.
Like I don't care if you're a PhD, I don't care if you have zero knowledge. We're gonna teach you our methods. You go through NCI, obviously.
Yep.
And then we have. So for the longest time, I was the one doing all the hands-on training. Now we have a director of education on our staff.
Okay.
Ironically, that I'm putting through a PhD, and you know, that's the other thing, man. I invest so much in my team.
Yeah.
I'm constantly putting them in the continuing education scenarios to you know, practically apply and to bring back and teach our staff as well. And so that's really it, man. It's a big process, and then we get our team together twice a year because we're all remote.
Okay.
We get our team twice a year. We do summits. We have fun the first day.
Yeah.
The second day it's all business, but there's usually a ton of debauchery on Saturday night at dinner.
Yeah.
So, dude, I got a great story for you though. At our first, so we have a mastermind too, not our team, but speaking of debauchery at dinners, so are you familiar? You're familiar with Mastros, of course, right? We're here in Phoenix, the original Mastros. Sure. So I'm a big Vegas guy.
Okay.
And when I go to Vegas, I like nice dinners, and so I take anybody that'll go with us to Mastros in Vegas.
Okay.
And so I have a server there. His name's Tony. He's been waiting on me for 3.5 years.
Okay.
Right? This is my dude.
Yeah.
And I've built so much status with them. I could call fully booked out. They will get me a private room. Like,
nice.
Yeah, like it's like
Connected.
that, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Well, dude, you spend enough money at fucking Mastros. Like,
Let me call
probably $100,000 gone at Mastros.
The high roller status.
Let me call my guy.
I'm high roller at the restaurant, not the tables, bro.
But it's better at the restaurant.
You'll find me at like penny slots, bro. So
you always win at the restaurant. You always win.
Yeah. I mean, with butter cake, you can't go wrong.
Right.
That's a win. So I had my first ever, or my second ever mastermind meeting in Vegas. We had 60 people there. Like we had some big names come out for it. It was awesome, man.
Nice.
Like dream come true for me, right? Like this broke kid to like sitting in a room, hosting 60 people at one of the most expensive restaurants, and like, it's not a financial thing, but like when you're super broke and you're like, you just want to pay it forward, like not even thinking about like somebody that's going to bring you that bill. It was a cool feeling, right?
Nice.
And so we're sitting there. Of course, Tony's taking care of us, and he's like, "Bro, you got to give a speech." And so I give a speech, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Dude, you just inspired me." And I'm like, "Cool, like, you know, I like to think I'm a good speaker, so thank you." And he's like, "No, you don't get it." He's like, "I'm quitting my job right now." Whoa. And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And he's
your
like,
guy Tony.
Yeah, he's
you
like,
fucked this up, man.
He's like, "You're the last table I'm ever gonna wait on," and I'm like, whatever, right? He's like, "No, seriously." He's like, "After you're done, we're gonna go to the front of this room." He's like, "I'm gonna take a shot with you, and I'm gonna take my bow tie off and leave." And I'm like, "Okay." And I'm still like, at this point, I'm like, "Whatever, bro. That's cool. Like, you're super fired up. You'll actually think about this, and you won't do it."
Right.
Sure as shit, dude. 90 minutes later, comes and taps me on the shoulder, and he's got 2 shots. We go to the front. He gets everyone's attention.
Yeah.
Gives a speech about how he's waited on me for like 4 years, and he's like, we take the shot, cheers it up, bow tie off, and he fucking rolls, dude.
Wow.
Just straight up left.
In my mind, I've got half baked in my mind. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're cool.
It was dope, dude.
That's crazy.
So,
how did that make you feel in that moment?
So to people that are like, he didn't just leave
for
his.
you, or I just ruined your life.
No, so I knew he had like real estate, like that was his daytime thing, right? Because he waited tables at night, and I was pumped because I'm like, the biggest decision was for me to walk away from something that was holding me back, and I knew this guy was playing safe. You know, he's waiting tables because he's done it for years, and he's not truly investing himself in the real estate. He's not getting adequate sleep at night.
Yeah.
He's not, he's just doing it for the dollar. He's not doing it for the love of it.
Yeah.
And so right then and there, I'm like, bro, like, good for you. And like, we stayed in touch. Dude, had the best year ever in 2019. Or 2018, off to a killer start in 2019. Tony Vanier, I don't know if you'll ever hear this. I'll post it on my Facebook, so maybe he'll see it. I'll tag him. Yeah. But love the guy to death.
That's
the crazy part is, our last summit in Vegas, we're eating at STK in a private room. I'm telling the story. Yeah. And this dude looks at me and he's like, "Are you talking about Tony Vanier?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh man," he's like, "that guy's a legend. He quit his job like when." And I'm like, "Wait, you know that?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Everybody knows that." And I'm like, "Dude, that was my event." And he's like, "Shut the fuck up." He's like, "You're a fucking legend here." And I'm like, and so I'm like, dude, I need a new Vegas guy. And he's like, "STK, I got you." So now anybody that comes to Vegas with me, STK every time.
There you go.
That's where we're at.
That's crazy.
Got a dude that takes care of us. But yeah, man.
No more speeches.
I'll be getting everybody to quit.
Right.
But nah, man, I say that just because it's like presentation and delivery is everything. you come to a nutrition certification with me and you think you're going to get the tools to walk away. And I fundamentally want to change your life in 48 hours. And I believe I can.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe with everything in me, I can say the right words, bring the right tonality, whatever it is to change your life.
Sure.
And I didn't get that until my life was changed, right? Like you talk about like, how did you learn this? I lived it first.
Right.
Yeah.
And I believe you can only lead what you live. And so I've been fortunate enough to live this for the last 4.5 years. And now is my turn to help other people live it and reap the benefits of it and see just the amazing shit that it brings to you, man.
Right.
Like it is a very cool experience to just walk through hell, man, and come out on the other side to thrive from it, you know. And I'm just super fortunate, but I just want to pay it forward.
That's a cool thing, man.
Do you think that you'd have this mindset had you not gone in the red on Thanksgiving Day 5 years ago?
So
Like,
it's funny that we say this. I want to, with everything in me, say yes, but I don't know, because growing up, I was always a giver. But I told you, like, the truth is I was a giver because I wanted the attention from other people.
Sure.
I wanted other people to say, oh, Jason's so nice. Oh, he gives. What a great guy. I didn't care about the giving, and I probably didn't give a fuck about the other person, if I'm being honest.
Sure.
Right? I just cared that people thought I was a good person.
Right.
Today, it's truly rooted in I just want the world to be a better place.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Like, I mean, a lot of it comes from just the work I've done on myself. So maybe I wouldn't have done the work on myself had I not failed.
Yeah.
So I wish I had like a definitive answer.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to say no, to be honest. But maybe that's why I was put in my life.
Sure. Yeah.
During your journey, was this all self-discovery that happened, or did you have mentors along the way that helped you see the vision?
So I like the one area I do invest myself in. I don't read. I don't listen to a lot of shit. I do study. I study success and I study people's journeys and I try to learn. And I'm very much a student of the game. Right. And so I would say up until 2018, it was all self-discovery. Yeah. It was all shit I had put myself through, stuff I had learned, and just kind of understanding, taking inferences, right? Like trying to figure out the understanding behind it. 2018, I worked with Garrett White, Warrior, Wake Up Warrior. And Garrett was very influential in helping me understand the why behind all the shit that had happened. Okay. And helping me illustrate, kind of connect some of the missing pieces. And so he was very influential in my life last year. Okay. And he really actually helped me understand more than anything. Dude, at 34, I was sitting on top of a multi-million-dollar empire, and yet I was still literally doubting myself every day. Yeah. And putting myself second. And not thinking that I mattered in the grand scheme of life. And one of the biggest things Garrett brought to my life is the fact that I matter. I matter inside of all my decisions. I matter inside the business. I matter inside how I lead myself. Yep. And it sounds crazy to say that, but so many people, they don't put themselves, like, they don't care about themselves. Yeah. Like, they don't think they matter. And like those 3 words, you fucking matter. Yeah. Like, those are 3 words everyone needs to hear. So, but yeah, I think that's, that more than anything is kind of how it came to be.
That's dope, man. I really like the mentality. It's like, you hear this whole motivational push where people are like, I need to be motivated before I take the action to be in this. It's like, it's not like that. It's like action's going to create the inspiration that creates motivation, and it's going to be an infinite loop from there. But like you're saying, by doing something, whether it is, what the hell you're doing or not, by doing that something, those ideas and thoughts are going to come. And that's what I hear from your story, man. It's like you failed forward, and a lot of people aren't willing to fail because the fear of like, how I'm going to look, how am I going to feel about myself? It's like,
and that's it. They don't fear the failure itself. They fear the perception of failure.
Absolutely.
Right? Yes. Like so many accurate. People don't fear failure. You just fear the perception of others about your failures. And that's kind of the fucked up part, right? Yeah. Like it's the same as like the overweight crowd, right? They blame social settings on their inability to comply with dietary protocols. Yet it's the perception of being or the thought that they'll be ostracized from these social settings for making choices that don't align socially with what society has told us is acceptable, right? Ordering a salad when you're at a bar is not what society tells you is acceptable, right? That's not quote unquote normal.
Right.
So you're so afraid of what your friends are going to think.
Right.
Well, here's the truth. Your friends don't give a fuck.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
But the truth is your friends also don't care that you're fat.
Right.
They don't. Like, they don't think anything differently of you, but they're also not going to look at you if you're hyper successful and get a six-pack and, like, instantly get on their knees and bow down to you.
Right.
Like that's not going to happen either, but that's what you think is going to happen.
Right.
And that was me at 18, right? I'm like, oh, girls will flock to me. Even though your shirt is covering your abs 99.9% of the day, right? Girls will know I have abs and they will fucking run to me. Like that was the shit that went through my head, dude.
Yeah.
It didn't help that like Abercrombie wanted me to model for them at the time, and like, bro, this is 200002.
Yeah.
Every 18-year-old's wet dream to model for Abercrombie. So like, I was like, surely I'll get the girls if I model for Abercrombie.
Yeah.
But it was, it's just crazy to understand. And this is like, I'm actually starting to build out a course for people that want to get in the entrepreneurial space with nutrition, and the very first section is all mindset related, and entrepreneurs that don't have the right mindset are done. Like, you're done before you start.
Yeah.
You will not yield success. You'll not. You might create short-term success, but you will not create a sustained business without the right mindset.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful.
Well, that whole mindset and success thing, goes hand in hand. And we were talking about, some of the changes that CrossFit has made, and how, by and large, you feel is going to be the downfall of CrossFit. And what my rebuttal to that was, it's actually driven my community together. And your reply to that was, well, we're going to be one of the few that sees the forest for the trees.
And that's my fear, is that you're going to be one of the few, because I think CrossFit as an entity relies on large scale of affiliate fees every year, right? They're absolutely, as you said, they're absolutely cannibalizing their open registration. Which is awful, because I ran numbers one time based on how many people registered. Yeah. And from pretty simple math, number of registrants versus cost per registration, even when looking at what the potential back-end overhead was, and bandwidth and employees to run that, it's a pretty substantial profit yearly, right? Yeah. And so you're going to cannibalize a lot of that. And then you're just like, the biggest thing is culture. And, like, CrossFit gyms circa 2007, 2008, like when it was just coming in, and like, drop-ins, like you'd drop in and you'd get the shirt at the gym. Right. And like such a community. Now it's like, if you're not a member there, and like you don't know somebody there, like you're an outcast. And it was never like that. And like when I started, I started in like 2013-ish. Yeah. So I loved it. I love the culture. Today there's no culture in most gyms, right? Sure. I can't speak to every gym, obviously. Yeah. But I think that what you're going to see is, because of the nature of there being competitions year round, you're going to continue to see the division that is created in the open and regionals just perpetuated all year long. And it's going to drive people to gyms like yourself, but you're going to be one of the few gyms that survives and thrives. And the gyms that don't survive and thrive, they won't have the money to keep their doors open, let alone pay their affiliation fee. Yeah. Right? One of the first things they drop will be that affiliation fee. And so I think that is going to hurt CrossFit. Again, fundamentally, I have to point out, CrossFit is supposedly pivoting towards CrossFit Health. Sure. And I don't believe at all the essence of their new season is in line with health. Okay. One of my core concepts at NCI and IN3 is it's called the triangle of awareness. Yeah. Right. And I say at any given time, you're either chasing performance, aesthetics, or longevity. Yep. Right. And the problem is, you're not chasing any of them concurrently. Right. You cannot. Sure. Absolutely, if somebody's overweight and they lose weight, will they subsequently create longevity? Of course they will. But the goal was the aesthetic side, right? Sure. And at some point, when they hit a reasonable level of body fat and they continue to pursue the extreme aesthetics, longevity will actually go backwards. Okay. It's the same as performance. Anybody that tells you an NFL athlete is going to live to be 100+ years old is full of shit. Right. Right? They don't care. In their season, they are supposed to fuel up for a game, recover from a game, and win Super Bowls and make millions of dollars. That's it. That's the sacrifice they're making. They're okay with that. Right. If we are living to be 100+ years old, we'd sleep in dark rooms, we'd take long walks on the beach, and we wouldn't eat carbs. Right. But if you're not going to eat carbs, how are you going to perform in a glycolytic sport? Like, fundamentally, the three things are different. Sure. And people don't want to acknowledge that. And I'm sorry, CrossFit has to take the step back and realize motherfuckers were glycolytic. Like, we have very intense demands in a culture, in Western culture, where there's more sympathetic stressors that are present than ever before. we're adding onto that at a very rapid rate. And we're expecting a society that does not inherently have good dietary protocols to recover from that.
Yeah.
Zero chance. And then we're going to tell them that we support the paleo diet, which doesn't even have the carbohydrates to recover from the demands of our sport, let alone life.
Right. Right.
It's just like mind blowing to me, the misconnections that are going on there.
Yeah.
I believe it's salvageable, but I think that the current trend does not go in the right direction.
Do you feel like they sort of took a similar path to what bodybuilding did? Because you look at any bodybuilding competitor, when they're at their peak state, they're actually in their worst health that you can be in, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like Ronnie Coleman didn't win the Mr. Olympia for having the best blood work.
Exactly.
Right.
Do you think it's taking that same shift? Because like
On
you
the
see how
competitive side?
because you see how bodybuilding where it took its turn and now it's not
Well,
nearly as
I
popular.
think fundamentally every athlete has to. Any athletic endeavor has to.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot reward extreme. You can't reward extreme performance for longevity or for biomarkers of health. You just can't.
No.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
And sports and athletics have become such a high dollar business that unhealthy practices, i.e. steroid use,
Yeah.
is going to work its way in, man. Like
Sure.
Lance Armstrong, how much money did the dude make in his career? Like, of course he doped.
Right.
Like, he had massive amounts of money on the line not to dope. Like CrossFitters, I'm sorry, I do believe a lot of the high-level athletes are using. Comes out every year. There is a percentage of CrossFitters are using.
Right.
Their perception is that sponsorship dollars are on the line. I'm tell you firsthand, there's not a lot of sponsorship dollars in CrossFit. Like unless you're Matt Frazier, you're not making a ton of money. But that's what they want, and that's okay. I don't disrespect that choice.
Right.
Like I am not in any way against the steroid use in sports. Like it is what it is, right? Like UFC fighters, same thing. Like Daniel Cormier got paid, but that's why you're starting to see athletic careers are reduced.
Yeah.
Knowledge is at an all-time high, right? So you're seeing football players retire younger. You're seeing fighters get in and out of the game.
Yep.
I believe you will see CrossFitters 10 years from today with much shorter careers. I also believe that if you really want to be
competitors.
successful at CrossFit, if you want to close the gap on somebody, you need to train for 2 years, not compete for 2 years.
Right.
So, like, if Fikowski wanted to close the gap on Matt Frazier, because we all agree he's the second closest competitor, right?
Sure. Yeah.
He needs a year off. He
To just
can't,
train.
though, because of sponsorship.
Yeah. And I'm training a girl right now, and she's got all the upside, the athleticism, the engine, and I've set parameters for her that when we sat down, regionals was still a thing.
Yep.
When we started, and I was like, we need 2 years.
Yep.
Like this is not
No regionals for 2 years.
Yeah.
Smart.
We're not. That's not what
We're not periodizing relative to the CrossFit season.
Yeah.
We're periodizing to your goals.
Yeah.
100%.
2 years.
Yeah.
And
Did she stay with you?
Yeah, she's still with
Smart
me.
girl.
Yeah, and in her mind, it was like, oh,
Yeah.
you mean I can't get there tomorrow?
Yeah.
A very short-lived thought. But I'm like, this is real, and I think it's our responsibility as coaches when we put that out there, we have to stand behind it
100%.
with in the next breath. If you want to work with me, this is how it's going to go. And
The problem is there's so many coaches that will take your dollar for not asserting what they really believe in.
Sure.
Right? There's a lot of coaches that need the money. And it's a financial game. I get it. They need the money, so they'll take your dollar and try to give you the best, quote unquote, within what you're asking for. But listen, facts are facts. Adaptation takes place in an off season, period.
Yeah.
You're not creating adaptation in your season. You're recovering.
Yeah.
You're stressing yourself and you're recovering. You're not adapting postseason.
Sure.
You're not you have some mild adaptation before your season where you're shifting to energy system specific work. But true adaptation takes place in the off season. Strength and skill development. That's where it happens.
Sure. And I think that too many people get wrapped up in competing, and now they're not training.
No.
And they're sure as shit not recovering.
Nope.
And that the stimulus that comes with competition is not sustainable.
Completely agree.
Right.
It's not. I mean, you can't compete year round. Nobody does it.
And I see people, but that's what I see in the coaching space is people are like, I see the same 5 people on the podium week in, week out.
Yep.
And I'm like,
But that's also why they're not on the podium at the next level.
exactly.
100%. That's why you can win your local throwdown. Great. Jerk yourself off to that.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. But you're not going to win at the next level.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. And then you wonder, why can't I bridge that gap? Why do you think every year at regionals there's a whole crop of new people?
Yeah.
Because they're the ones, they weren't clawing their way up. They're the freshest.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Why did Fikowski make it that one year, and then he gets to the games? He was fresher than everybody else. I worked with Reagan Huckabee the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Last year she struggled a little bit at the games. The year before, fucking great year, right? Or no, last year she didn't get out of regionals. Sorry. The year before, smash regionals.
Yeah.
Shocker, she had the last year off.
Right.
And I explained that to her. She's like, "Oh my God, you're right." I'm like, "You have to people have to start understanding this."
Yeah.
But nobody wants to talk about this. They just want to talk about training program.
Yeah.
How about recovery program? How about time to recover? How about time to create adaptation?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to look at that. And I'm telling you, the people that get it today, Matt Frazier, perfect example. When's the last time he lost? Ben Smith, right? What did he do that year? He competed in Granite Games and he competed in ECC.
Yeah.
They're in that competitive year. He ran out of gas at the games.
Right.
He was better than Ben. He ran out of gas. What did he do the next year? Completely took off.
Right. Didn't do anything.
Smash shit. Has not competed in he's done Dubai, I think once.
Yeah.
Has not competed in a small event more than once.
Right.
Because he gets it.
Yeah.
He
You
gets it.
You got to be selective.
makes a
You
lot of
have
sense.
to.
Yeah.
Why, using your bodybuilding example, why at the top level when Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler and Dexter Jackson were competing for the Mr. Olympia?
One show.
One show. They didn't want to have to run drugs all year.
Right.
They knew if they could clean out their receptors, they would respond better.
Sure.
Right? Because at that level, it's chemical warfare.
Right.
So,
I've never heard that. I love that.
you got to make sure that you can win at that game. So,
yeah.
But it's, every sport is like that, man.
Yeah.
And I respect the hustle on the way up. I really do, because I recognize the sacrifices and commitments have to be made. But I think you got to start talking about what is optimal and what can I do.
Yeah.
And that space in between optimal and what you can do is what you're always trying to bridge. Because where you're at today is likely not optimal.
Right.
But if you can bridge the gap to get to optimal, you can start winning faster.
It's really interesting talking with, my one-on-ones, because I know them so intimately, talking them off the ledge because they want to do more and more and more. I'm like, I'm telling you, if you just trust this process, it's going to feel like we're doing a shit ton less.
Yep.
But you're going to
surpass
catapult.
everybody.
Yeah. You're going to be in this for the long haul.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
100%, dude.
You'll last a lot longer. Your body will feel better, and you'll enjoy this shit.
So have you heard of the study? They study kids in, I think it was either Stanford or Harvard, right?
Okay.
And they put them in a room, and I forget what it was. It was like a cupcake or something.
The marshmallow
test.
The marshmallow test,
Yeah.
right? So you guys know the marshmallow
Delayed
test.
Yeah.
gratification.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the most successful people in life were the ones that were willing to delay gratification. Dude, it still holds true in athletics.
Sure.
If you can delay your gratification as an athlete, if you don't want your results today, if you know the work you're putting in today is a brick put on the house for a house that will be complete in 3 years, you'll win.
Sure.
But you can't want it today. Nobody builds a house in one day.
Yeah.
Nobody becomes complete in one day. We live this life as a race for 100 years if we're lucky.
Yeah.
And yet we want everything fucking yesterday.
Dude, I freaking love that, man.
It's too much,
Dude.
man.
Where can everybody follow you and connect with everything you have going, your certifications,
Yeah.
social media, all of that, brother?
So for IN3, man, for any coaching services, it's in3nutrition.com.
Okay.
Super easy. For Nutritional Coaching Institute, it's NCI certifications with an S.com. And then me, man, just Jason Phillips on Facebook or Jason Phillips _IN3 on Instagram. And, the one thing I always say, if people do want to connect, just reach out, send me a message. I love connecting with people. Obviously, I love to talk. So, just hit me up and we'll shoot the shit or whatever, man. I'm always down to help. It's literally a mission to pay it forward. So
Right on, man.
Dude, love everything you're doing, man.
I appreciate
And
you.
before we let you get out of here today, man, I'm really interested about what you're doing now
Yeah.
to empower your journey. What do you do each and every day to create this sustainable momentum you got going?
So I actually developed a gamified morning routine. So we call it the 3-dimensional model, and I'm very big on everybody becoming a 3-dimensional human living inside of what I call frame, family, and finance. Your frame is your physical and your physiological. Your family is your love life and your interpersonal connections, and obviously your finance is your business and your money. And so every day I have, there's 3 points I can get for frame. There's 3 points I can get for family. There's 3 I can get for finance.
Okay.
And if I get 9 points to start every single day, dude, I'm already ahead.
To start the day?
To start the day.
Okay.
That's how I start every day. Yeah, it's about an hour-long routine.
Okay.
So
Nice.
Yep. And dude, like at some point, I don't have it ready, but I'll make a video on it and I'll give it to you guys. You can email it out or whatever.
Hell yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
explain.
dude,
I'll
that's
explain the
sick.
whole system. People can check it out.
I'd
So
love to
That's
hear.
what's
That's
up.
interesting, dude.
So,
Love it, bro.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys.
Dude,
I
you're one of
appreciate
the,
you,
you're one of
boss.
the busiest people I know. It's awesome that you're home based in Scottsdale. You know, we'll definitely collaborate down the road.
Absolutely, man. We got to get you guys up to the office and have you guys check it out.
We'll take the
and we'll
tour.
have you guys at a cert for sure.
Yeah, man.
doubt,
we'll have Max bring the cam. And
Yeah, dude, we love that.
We'll vlog it up.
Yeah,
man.
that'd be dope.
Put you on blast.
Love it, man.
For sure.
It's fantastic.
For sure. You know, for everybody out there in our community, the Feed Me, Fuel Me tribe, get out there, support everything that Jason has going on. And we have some sponsor opportunities available. So if your brand matches our message, reach out to us at info@feedmefuelme.com and we'll get that dialogue going. Jason, thanks for taking the time.
Man,
brother.
dude, thank you guys for having me over. I appreciate it, brother.
Dude,
Absolutely, dude. No doubt.
For sure,
Appreciate you, brother. No
Love you,
doubt.
bro. Definitely.
Thank you, guys.
And until next time, guys, feed me, fuel me.